Hello there, and welcome to the Sleeping Science channel. Tonight we'll drift through the quiet architecture of the mind, a place where electricity weaves itself into memory and where the silence of the body gives rise to the endless landscape of your own awareness. It is a journey inward, to the very center of who you are, exploring the soft machinery that allows you to feel, to dream, and eventually to rest. We will walk gently through these corridors of thought, observing the sparks that light the dark, finding comfort in the knowledge that this vast system knows exactly how to care for you. Perhaps the day has been full of noise, demanding your attention and pulling your focus in 1,000 different directions, leaving little room for the quiet you deserve. It is natural to feel the weight of that activity, to carry the hum of the world in your shoulders and behind your eyes long after the sun has gone down. But here, in this protected space, there is no need to solve any problems or hold on to any complex ideas. You are free to let the momentum of the day slow down, allowing gravity to do the work of holding you while your mind begins to settle. Tonight, we will drift through the quiet laws of the human mind, observing the beautiful and intricate dance of biology that creates your experience of reality. We will watch how the physical brain, a silent and dark vessel, generates the light of consciousness, and how it gently winds down to restore itself in sleep. If this calm space brings you peace, consider sharing it. It helps other wandering minds find their way here too. Now, let's begin our descent into the gentle, rhythmic world within you, where every thought is a signal and every silence is a form of healing. You are carrying a universe within the quiet fortress of your skull, a physical structure of immense complexity that rests effortlessly at the top of your spine. It is a soft, intricate organ, weighing only about 3 pounds, yet it holds the capacity to model the entire cosmos within its folds. It sits in total darkness, encased in bone, floating in a protective bath of clear fluid that cushions it against the movements of the day. There is a profound stillness here, physically removed from the wind and the light of the outside world. Yet it is the birthplace of everything you have ever seen. The texture of this inner landscape is softer than you might imagine. Living tissue that is rich with blood and water, delicate and responsive to the slightest shift in chemistry. It is not a rigid machine of gears and levers, but a biological garden of grey and white matter, folded over upon itself to maximize the space for connection. These folds, known as gyri and sulci, create the characteristic hills and valleys of the brain's surface, a topography as unique to you as a fingerprint. It is a landscape that has evolved over millions of years to prioritize efficiency, compactness, and the ability to learn, and silence follows. It is a strange and beautiful paradox that this organ, which processes every sensation of touch, heat, and pain, feels nothing itself. The brain has no pain receptors. It is the silent observer of the body, translating signals without ever experiencing the discomfort it identifies for you. This allows it to remain a neutral ground, a sanctuary of processing that continues its work regardless of the sensory storms passing through the rest of the nervous system. It is always listening, always interpreting, but it sits in a place of permanent physical peace, insulated from the raw edges of the world it perceives. The protection provided to this delicate center is a testament to its value, guarded by the strong, curved plates of the cranium, which fuse together to form a seamless shield. Beneath the bone, layers of durable membranes called meninges wrap the brain in a comforting embrace, acting as a second skin that holds the cerebral fluid in place. This fluid does not merely cushion, it circulates, a slow and rhythmic tide that washes away waste products and delivers nutrients. It is a constant, gentle bath, ensuring that the neural environment remains pristine and stable, ready for the delicate work of thought. Deep within this protected dark, a vast network of blood vessels weaves through the tissue, finer than strands of silk, delivering oxygen to every remote corner. The brain demands a constant stream of this vital energy, drawing it from the heart's steady pulse to fuel the electrical storms of cognition. Even when you are perfectly still, resting in a chair or lying in bed, this circulation continues its silent delivery, a river of life that never pauses. It is a testament to the body's priority. The preservation of the mind is the first law of your physiology, and life adjusts once more. If you could shrink down and enter this microscopic world, you would find yourself in a dense forest of cells, a place where biology becomes geometry. The primary. Residents here are the neurons, the architects of your thoughts, stretching out their long, thin branches to touch one another in a vast, tangled canopy. There are billions of them, more numerous than the stars in the visible sky, each one a distinct entity, yet defined entirely by its connections to others. They are the static structures that allow the fluid motion of electricity to travel, standing like ancient trees that have woven their roots together into a single solid floor. Each neuron is a marvel of specialization, possessing a central body that houses its genetic instructions and a long tail, the axon, which acts as a transmission line. Extending from the center are the dendrites, delicate, branch-like structures that reach out to receive signals from neighbors, gathering information like leaves catching rain. This structure is repeated billions of times, creating a mesh so dense that a single cubic millimeter of your brain contains tens of thousands of these cells. It is a crowded, bustling community of matter, yet there is order in the density, a blueprint that keeps the pathways clear. The scale of this network is difficult to comprehend, a sheer magnitude of numbers that speaks to the infinite potential of human thought. If you were to unravel all the axons in your brain and lay them end to end, they would wrap around the Earth 4 times. This is the distance your thoughts travel, looping and folding within the small space of your head. A global journey, occurring in milliseconds. It is a reminder that you are vast on the inside, containing distances and complexities that rival the geography of the planet you walk upon. And wonder expands. The currency of this realm is electricity, a subtle and constant voltage that exists across the membrane of every neuron. When a thought occurs, or a sensation is felt, it manifests as a rapid shift in this charge, a wave of energy known as an action potential. It sweeps down the length of the axon like a spark traveling along a fuse, precise and inevitable. This is not the high-voltage electricity of a wall socket, but a gentle, biological bioelectricity, generated by the movement of charged atoms moving in and out of the cell. These signals travel at varying speeds, some leisurely, and others reaching hundreds of miles per hour, depending on the urgency of the information. The command to move your hand away from heat travels instantly, a lightning bolt of survival, while a complex memory might drift more slowly through the network. This variation creates a symphony of rhythms within the mind, a layering of fast and slow frequencies that blend together to form your conscious state. It is never truly silent here. There is always a low, background hum of readiness, a choir of cells waiting to sing. But the most magical moment occurs at the end of the line, where one neuron ends and the next begins, separated by a tiny, fluid-filled gap. This space is called the synapse, a physical chasm that the electrical signal cannot cross on its own. It is here that the spark must transform, changing from electricity into chemistry, a metamorphosis that allows the message to bridge the divide. It is a moment of translation, where the hard signal of the wire becomes the soft diffusion of a cloud, drifting across to the other side. The current flows, without effort. Tiny sacs within the sending neuron burst open, releasing molecules known as neurotransmitters into the synaptic gap, like seeds, cast into the wind. These chemicals float across the microscopic distance, finding their way to specific receptors on the receiving neuron, fitting into them like keys into locks. When the connection is made, the chemical signal is converted back into electricity, and the message continues its journey onward. This process happens trillions of times every second, a ceaseless exchange of matter and energy that creates the continuity of your experience. This synaptic transmission is the fundamental unit of learning, for the connections are not fixed, they are dynamic and responsive. When two neurons communicate frequently, the synapse between them grows stronger and more efficient, making the next signal easier to send. It is akin to a path being worn through a grassy field. The more it is walked, the clearer and wider it becomes. This is how a skill is mastered or a memory is solidified, through the physical reinforcement of the bridges between your cells. The complexity of this web means that a single neuron can be connected to thousands of others, creating a network of infinite routes and detours. A signal starting in one place can ripple outward, activating vast regions of the brain in a cascade of association and recognition. This is why a single smell can trigger a memory, which in turn triggers an emotion, which then brings a name to your lips. The mind is not a series of isolated boxes, but a unified field where everything touches everything else, and everything rests in its place. Despite the immense activity occurring at every moment, the brain manages this workload with remarkable efficiency, consuming roughly 20% of your body's energy. It is a hungry organ, requiring a steady supply of glucose and oxygen to maintain the electrical gradients that keep the system primed. This energy is used not just for active thinking, but for the maintenance of the cells themselves, the constant repair and housekeeping required to keep the biological machinery running. Even in sleep, the consumption remains high, a testament to the fact that the mind never truly shuts down, but merely shifts its mode of operation. This intense metabolic activity generates heat, a gentle warmth that radiates from the center of your head, distinct from the rest of the body. The blood flowing through the brain acts as a coolant, carrying away the excess thermal energy to keep the sensitive tissues at an optimal temperature. It is a delicate balance of fire and water, a biological engine that runs hot, but must remain cool to function. You might visualize this warmth as the physical evidence of your own existence, the energy of your being radiating into the quiet space around you. To ensure speed and efficiency, many of the brain's long-distance cables are wrapped in a fatty substance called myelin, which acts as insulation. This white coating prevents the electrical signal from leaking out, allowing it to skip along the axon at great speeds. This is what gives the white matter of the brain its pale color, distinguishing it from the darker gray matter where the processing occurs. It is the infrastructure of connectivity, the superhighways that link the distant provinces of your mind into a cohesive whole. The rhythm continues. The gray matter, sitting on the surface and deep within the core, is where the heavy lifting of computation happens. It is here that the signals are weighed, integrated, and decided upon, the true seat of processing power. It is darker because it lacks the white insulation, consisting instead of the dense cell bodies and the tangled thickets of dendrites. This is the fabric of your consciousness, the physical material that holds the patterns of your personality and your capacity for reason. But before there can be reason, there must be input. The mind must have raw material to weave into a picture of the world. The brain sits in its dark cavern, relying entirely on the senses of the body to tell it what is happening. Outside, it is a master interpreter, taking the chaotic energy of the universe, light, sound, pressure, and translating it into the common language of electricity. Without these senses, the mind would be a library with no books, a processor with no data to shape. Consider the miracle of vision, which begins when particles of light, photons that have traveled from the sun, strike the back of your eye. The retina is a net of light-sensitive cells that catch these photons and convert their radiant energy into electrical impulses. The brain never sees the light itself. It only sees the signal sent by the eye, a code of pulses traveling down the optic nerve. Yet, from this code, it constructs the vivid, colorful, three-dimensional world you perceive, painting reality on the canvas of your mind, and light drifts onward. The same translation occurs with sound, which begins as a simple vibration of air molecules pressing against the drum of your ear. These vibrations are transferred through tiny bones and into a fluid-filled spiral, where hair cells sway like seagrass in a current. This movement triggers the electrical spark, turning the physical pressure of the air into the internal language of the neuron. Your brain takes these pulses and recognizes the voice of a friend or the melody of a song, finding meaning in the movement of wind. Touch, too, is a conversion of energy, where the pressure on your skin triggers receptors that send messages racing up your spine. The brain maps these signals to the surface of your body, creating a boundary between you and the world, a sense of where you end and everything else begins. It is a constant stream of confirmation, a grounding data set that tells you that you are here, physical and present. Every sensation you have ever felt was, in reality, a pattern of electricity flickering in the dark, interpreted by a mind-seeking connection. It is a profound realization that the world you perceive is a reconstruction, a model built instantly and continuously within the theater of your mind. Because the processing of these signals takes a fraction of a second, you are technically living just behind the present moment, perceiving the past as it happens. The brain takes the slightly delayed data from your eyes and ears and synchronizes it, stitching it together so that the clap of hands matches the visual impact perfectly. It is a subtle, benevolent deception, a seamless editing of reality that allows you to interact with the world in real time, despite the biological lag of the machinery. This internal architect is also a master of filling in the gaps, painting over the blind spots that exist in your field of vision. Where the optic nerve exits the eye, there are no receptors, technically leaving a small hole in your sight, a void of nothingness. Yet, you never see a black dot floating in the sky. The brain simply assumes what should be there based on the surrounding pattern and fills it in with color and texture. It is a constant act of creative prediction, assuming continuity where there is none, ensuring that your view of the horizon remains unbroken and whole, and silence follows. But the mind does not just add to reality, it also subtracts, filtering out the vast majority of sensory noise to protect you from being overwhelmed. At the center of the brain lies a structure acting as a great gatekeeper, deciding which signals are important enough to reach your conscious awareness. At this very moment, your skin is sending signals about the texture of your clothes, the pressure of the chair, and the temperature of the air. But until now, you were likely unaware of them. The gatekeeper held them back, allowing you to focus on these words, proving that focus is simply the art of ignoring the unnecessary. This ability to tune out the static is what allows you to find peace in a noisy room or sleep, while a clock ticks nearby. The brain identifies steady, non-threatening rhythms and categorizes them as safe, fading them into the background of your perception. It is a form of trust, the mind telling the body that it does not need to remain alert to the familiar, allowing the nervous system to settle. This is why the sound of rain or white noise is so soothing. It occupies the auditory channels with a gentle, predictable pattern, masking the sharp edges of sudden silence and the quiet holds. The mind creates order, not just by filtering, but by actively seeking patterns in the chaos, looking for familiar shapes in the abstract. It is why you might see a face in the grain of wood, or an animal in the drifting shape of a cloud. The brain is hardwired to find connection and meaning, preferring a structured interpretation over a random one, constantly organizing visual data into recognizable forms. This is not an error of perception, but a feature of a system designed to understand the world quickly, always reaching for the comfort of the known. This drive for coherence extends to the passage of time itself, which is not a fixed constant in the mind, but a fluid experience that stretches and contracts. When you are engaged in something new or awe-inspiring, time seems to slow down, as the brain lays down dense, rich memories of the event. Conversely, when you are in a rhythm of routine, time seems to speed up, slipping away because the mind needs to record less of the repetitive data. You are the timekeeper of your own existence, your attention acting as the dial that controls the speed of the hours. The current flows, without effort. Deep within the temporal lobes, the brain houses the mechanisms for memory, the ability to carry the past into the present. Memory is not a filing cabinet of static videotapes, stored away perfectly and retrieved without change. It is a living, shifting web of reconstruction. Every time you recall a moment, you are technically rebuilding it from scattered fragments of sight, sound, and emotion, reassembling the mosaic. This means that your memories are alive, breathing entities that evolve slightly with you, softening over time as you change and grow. The physical basis of this recall is a process called long-term potentiation, a strengthening of the synapses that fire together repeatedly. When you learn something new, a name, a melody, a path through the woods, A specific circuit of neurons lights up in a unique sequence. If you repeat this thought, the biological path becomes reinforced, the chemical handshake between the cells becoming firmer and more reliable. It is the neurological equivalent of carving a riverbed. The water of thought flows more easily where it has flowed before, and everything softens. This capacity to change is known as neuroplasticity, the most hopeful and beautiful quality of the human mind. It means the brain is not a fixed stone, but a pliable clay, constantly reshaping itself in response to your habits, your thoughts, and your environment. Even now, as you rest and listen, tiny structural changes are occurring, new connections being tentatively formed while others gently fade. You are never exactly the same person you were yesterday, for the physical architecture of your mind has adjusted to accommodate the life you have lived since then. This reshaping often requires a process of letting go, a biological phenomenon known as synaptic pruning. Just as a gardener trims back the branches that are no longer bearing fruit, the brain dissolves connections that are rarely used. This is not a loss, but a refinement, a way to clear the clutter and make the remaining pathways more efficient and precise. It is the science of forgetting, a necessary act of cleaning that creates space for new learning and prevents the system from becoming noisy and overgrown. And the rhythm continues. There is a specific region, shaped like a seahorse and tucked deep inside the folds, called the hippocampus, which acts as the librarian of this vast archive. It is responsible for sorting through the short-term impressions of the day and deciding which ones are worthy of long-term storage. It is particularly active during sleep, replaying the day's events at high speed, transferring the data to the sturdy outer cortex for permanent keeping. This is why rest is so vital for learning. It is in the quiet hours that the librarian organizes the shelves, turning raw experience into wisdom. Memory is also deeply entwined with emotion, anchored by a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. This tiny neighbor sits close to the librarian, stamping memories with an emotional weight, joy, peace, nostalgia, that tells the brain, keep this, it matters. This is why you may forget the details of a mundane Tuesday, but remember the exact feeling of the sun on your face during a moment of perfect happiness. The heart of the brain prioritizes what made you feel, ensuring that the emotional landscape of your life is preserved above all else, and silence follows. But the mind does not just look backward. It is a prediction engine, constantly modeling the immediate future to help you navigate the world with grace. When you reach for a glass of water, your brain simulates the weight of the glass and the force needed to lift it before your hand even makes contact. It runs a split-second rehearsal of the action, adjusting the muscles in advance so that the movement is smooth and coordinated. You are always living in a seamless flow of prediction and confirmation, a dance where the mind leads and the body follows perfectly. This continuous stream of consciousness, the sense of being a unified I, is perhaps the greatest masterpiece of the neural orchestra. Despite the billions of disparate cells firing in different regions, vision in the back, judgment in the front, memory in the sides, you experience a single, unbroken narrative. There is no seam where the sound joins the sight, no jagged edge where the thought meets the feeling. The brain binds these millions of independent processes into one cohesive story, the story of you unfolding effortlessly in the present tense. The current flows without effort. It is easy to believe that you are the thinker of your thoughts, directing every mental motion, but much of this activity happens beneath the surface of your awareness. The subconscious mind is the vast ocean beneath the small boat of your focus, handling the complex calculations of balance, language, and intuition without troubling you with the details. It is a tireless worker, solving problems while you are distracted, which is why an answer often comes to you suddenly when you are looking away. It is always there, supporting you, a silent partner that manages the machinery so you can simply exist. Consider the phenomenon of intuition, that quiet nudge that tells you which way to turn or whom to trust. This is not magic, but the result of the brain's rapid processing of subtle patterns that your conscious mind has not yet articulated. It is the sum of your experience speaking to you in a whisper, a conclusion reached before the logical steps have been traced. Trusting this quiet voice is an act of relying on the deep wisdom of your own biology, acknowledging that you know more than you think you do, and the quiet holds. Even the concept of self is a construct, a stable illusion maintained by the constant chatter of a network called the default mode network. This circuit comes online when you are not focused on a task, when you are daydreaming or letting your mind wander. It weaves together your past, your future plans, and your social relationships, reinforcing the sense of identity that you carry with you. When you enter a state of deep flow or meditation, this network quiets down, and the boundary between you and the world softens, creating a feeling of oneness and expansion. This fluidity suggests that you are not a static object, but a process, a continuous becoming that flows like water through time. The atoms in your brain are replaced over the years. The connections rewire and the memories evolve, yet the sense of existence remains constant. You are the stable pattern within the change, the persistent rhythm that holds the song together even as the notes shift. It is a comforting thought. You are built to adapt, designed to flow, capable of weathering the seasons of life without losing your essential nature. And light drifts onward. As we move deeper into the architecture of the mind, we find that it is not just a solitary processor, but a social organ, built to mirror the minds of others. Specialized cells known as mirror neurons fire not only when you perform an action, but when you see someone else perform it. When you watch a smile spread across another's face, your own brain activates the same emotional circuitry, allowing you to feel a shadow of their joy. This is the biological root of empathy, the invisible bridge that connects your internal world to the experience of another human being. This connection proves that the mind is not a sealed vault, but an open window, constantly exchanging emotional data with the people around you. A calm presence can soothe a nervous mind, just as a steady heartbeat can settle a racing one. A phenomenon of resonance that occurs without a word being spoken. You are constantly broadcasting your state and tuning into others. A silent conversation of nervous systems seeking harmony. It is why we feel better when we are understood, for the burden of processing the world is briefly shared. The rhythm continues. Let us consider for a moment the sheer resilience of this system, which works tirelessly to maintain your equilibrium. When you are tired, the brain compensates. When you are stressed, it seeks release. When you are injured, it rewires around the damage. It is a self-repairing, self-correcting entity, driven by a fundamental biological imperative to keep you safe and whole. You do not need to instruct it to heal or tell it how to balance your chemistry. It possesses an ancient intelligence that knows the way back to center. There is a gentle humility in acknowledging that the most complex object in the known universe is humming quietly right now, just behind your eyes. It asks for nothing but oxygen, water, and rest. And in return, it gives you the colors of the sunset, the taste of clarity, and the capacity to love. It is your oldest companion, the witness to every moment you have ever lived, holding your history with a tenderness that is absolute. As you lie here, you can trust it completely, releasing the need to control the flow, letting the current take you where it needs to go, and everything rests in its place. Now, as we prepare to drift further inward, we approach the borderlands of sleep, where the rules of logic begin to loosen their grip. The brain begins to shift its frequency, moving from the rapid, choppy waves of alert beta states to the slower, rolling hills of alpha and theta. This is the twilight zone of consciousness, a state of relaxed wakefulness where thoughts lose their sharp edges and become more like floating images. It is a natural transition, a dimming of the lights in the theater before the next act begins. In this state, the grip of the frontal cortex, the analytical planning part of the brain, begins to soften. The inner critic, the voice that judges and organizes, steps back, allowing the more creative and associative parts of the mind to drift forward. This is why ideas seem to float by effortlessly in the moments before sleep, unburdened by the need to make sense. You are entering a space of pure observation, where you can watch the contents of your mind drift by, like leaves on a slow-moving stream, and peace hums through the body, The sensory gates we spoke of earlier begin to close more firmly now, turning the volume of the outside world down to a whisper. The signals from your body, the position of your limbs, the weight of the blankets start to fade from awareness, leaving you feeling weightless and untethered. It is a form of sensory decoupling, a gentle casting off of the physical anchors so that the mind can float free. You are safe here, suspended in the soft, dark space of your own interior, protected by the very biology that created you. Farther below the surface, the chemistry of the brain is changing, shifting toward the molecules of rest. Adenosine, a chemical byproduct of the day's activity, has been building up in your system hour by hour, creating a natural pressure to sleep. It acts like a dimmer switch on the neural network, gradually quieting the firing of the cells, urging them to slow down. It is not a force you need to fight. It is a chemical invitation, a heavy, warm blanket being pulled over the cortex, and silence follows. The pineal gland, a tiny structure deep in the center, responds to the fading light by releasing melatonin, the hormone of darkness. This chemical messenger travels through the bloodstream and the brain fluid, whispering to every cell that it is time to recover. It synchronizes your internal clock with the rotation of the Earth, aligning your biological rhythms with the great celestial cycle of night and day. You are part of this planetary rhythm, rising with the light and settling with the dark, held in the ancient orbit of rest. This internal timing is governed by a master clock, a tiny cluster of cells known as the suprachiasmatic nucleus, nestled directly above the crossing of the optic nerves. It acts as the conductor of your body's orchestra, keeping time with the rising and setting of the sun, ensuring that your physiology matches the world outside. Even without a watch, your body knows when it is night, for this ancient rhythm is written into your genetic code, a memory of the planet's rotation passed down through generations. It is a comforting thought to realize that you are synchronized with the cosmos, your internal tide, rising and falling with the light of the star we orbit. As the influence of this clock deepens, the electrical symphony of the brain begins to slow, shifting from the erratic beats of engagement to the long, smooth waves of relaxation. The high-frequency beta waves, which defined your focus during the day, gently dissolve, replaced by the calming rhythm of alpha waves. This is the bridge between doing and being, a mental state where you are awake but resting, alert but not processing. It is the feeling of sitting by a window watching the rain, a state of passive, peaceful observation, where the mind is present but unburdened by a specific task. The rhythm continues. From this bridge, you drift further into the borderlands, where the alpha waves lengthen into theta waves, the signature of deep relaxation and early sleep. In this state, the linear structure of thought begins to unravel, and the mind starts to speak in the language of symbols and images. You might see flashes of scenery, faces of people you haven't thought of in years, or abstract geometric patterns shifting behind your closed eyelids. These are hypnagogic hallucinations, a natural and harmless phenomenon where the visual cortex fires spontaneously, unconstrained by input from the eyes. It is here that the body often experiences a sudden, gentle startle, a sensation of falling or tripping that pulls you briefly back to the surface. This is known as a hypnic jerk, a fascinating relic of our evolutionary past. AI, quick system check by the brain as the muscles go slack. As you relax, your motor control shuts down, and the brain, sensing this sudden stillness, sends a quick pulse to ensure you are supported. It is not a sign of danger, but a confirmation of safety, a momentary reflex before the nervous system trusts the bed completely, and quiet deepens. Once this threshold is crossed, a remarkable physiological change takes place within the skull, a process of cleaning that can only happen while you sleep. The brain has its own waste disposal system, known as the glymphatic system, a network of plumbing that runs alongside your blood vessels. During the day, the brain is too busy to clean itself, but now, as the neurons go quiet, the support cells, the glia, physically shrink in size. This shrinking opens up microscopic channels in the tissue, creating space for the cerebrospinal fluid to rush in and wash through the glorious architecture of your mind. This nightly tide washes away the metabolic toxins that have accumulated during the hours of thinking, specifically proteins that would otherwise clutter the connections. It is a literal brainwashing, a restorative flood that clears the fog and prepares the tissue for a new day of clarity. This is why you wake up feeling refreshed, and why a problem that seemed impossible at night often feels solvable in the morning. The mind has been polished, the debris of confusion swept away by this silent, rhythmic current of fluid. The current flows without effort. While this cleaning takes place, the brain also disconnects from the voluntary muscles of the body, inducing a state of temporary paralysis called atonia. This is a safety mechanism, a brilliant lock on the door that prevents you from physically acting out the movements of your dreams. It allows the mind to run freely through imaginary landscapes, flying, running, climbing, while the body remains perfectly still and safe beneath the covers. You are free to explore the impossible in your mind, anchored securely by a biology that knows how to protect you from yourself. This separation of mind and body is not total. The autonomic systems, the breath, the heartbeat, the digestion, continue their steady work under the guidance of the brainstem. This primitive part of the brain, the oldest and most reliable structure, never sleeps, maintaining the baseline of life with absolute precision. It adjusts your breathing to be slower and deeper, syncing it with the slowed rhythm of your heart. You are being breathed by the universe, sustained by an automatic intelligence that requires no conscious effort on your part, and everything rests in its place. As you settle deeper, you enter the first true stage of sleep, a shallow water where you are still easily roused by a noise or a light. Here, the brain is balancing on the edge, testing the waters of unconsciousness, drifting in and out of awareness like a boat on a gentle tether. If you were to be woken, now you might feel as though you haven't slept at all, for the boundary between the waking world and the sleeping world is still thin and porous. It is a transitional space, a soft grey area where the self begins to dissolve into the quiet. Soon, however, you descend into stage 2 sleep, a distinct and stable state where the outside world is truly left behind. This stage is marked by unique electrical patterns called sleep spindles, rapid bursts of brain activity that look like tightly coiled springs on a monitor. Scientists believe these spindles are mechanisms of protection, specialized signals that block sensory information from reaching the conscious mind. They are the brain's way of saying, stay asleep, stay safe, creating a shield of noise that preserves the sanctity of your rest, and life adjusts once more. It is also during this stage that the process of memory consolidation begins in earnest, moving from the temporary holding of the hippocampus to the permanent storage of the cortex. The brain replays the neural patterns of the day, strengthening the important connections and letting the trivial ones fade away. It is a time of editing and saving, where the lessons of the last 16 hours are woven into the fabric of your long-term knowledge. You are becoming wiser as you sleep, integrating experience into the physical structure of your mind without lifting a finger. The temperature of the brain continues to drop, a necessary cooling that reduces the metabolic demand of the tissue. This thermal shift is mirrored in the body, which is why you naturally seek warmth and heavy covers when you are tired. The cool brain is an efficient brain, running its maintenance programs with minimal energy waste. It is a state of hibernation in miniature, a nightly winter that allows for the spring of awakening to return with vigor, and silence follows. From the stable plateau of stage 2, you begin the long, slow descent into the deepest caverns of the mind. Slow wave, sleep. This is the delta state, where the brainwaves become vast, rolling swells, moving slowly and powerfully across the cortex. These are the slowest waves the brain can produce, a rhythm of profound synchronization where millions of neurons fire in unison and then fall silent together. It is an oceanic state, a deep and rhythmic pulsing that represents the furthest distance from waking consciousness you can travel. In this deep delta state, there are no dreams, no narratives, no sense of self or time. There is only the pure biology of recovery. It is here that the body does its most critical physical repair, releasing surges of growth hormone that knit together muscle and bone. The immune system is recharged, the energy stores are replenished, and the physical wear of the day is reversed. This is the sleep that heals, the deep, restorative foundation that allows the organism to endure and thrive. The rhythm continues. It is a place of total oblivion, a void of peaceful nothingness, where the burden of being a person is completely lifted. You do not exist here as a name or a history. You exist only as life itself, suspended in a state of perfect preservation. It is a reminder that you do not need to be conscious to be whole, that there is a part of you that thrives in the dark, independent of your awareness. To enter this state is to trust the universe completely, to let go of the handle and let the current carry you through the dark. This deep sleep is heavier in the first half of the night, a priority for the brain as it seeks to recover physically before it attends to the psychological work of dreaming. It is as if the mind knows that the vessel must be repaired before the contents can be sorted. You dive deep early, spending long periods in the delta waves, then slowly surface as the night wears on. It is a cycle of diving and surfacing, a rhythmic journey through the layers of consciousness that repeats every 90 minutes. And the quiet holds. Even in this depth, the brain is not inactive. It is simply singing a different song, a low-frequency hum that resonates through the entire nervous system. This synchronization of neural activity helps to reset the synaptic weights, ensuring that the brain does not become saturated with too much information. It is a recalibration, a balancing of the scales that prevents the electrical storm of the mind from becoming chaotic. You are being tuned like an instrument, the tension of the strings adjusted so that you can play clearly again tomorrow. The sensory isolation is now complete. The gatekeeper in the thalamus has fully locked the doors to the senses. Sounds that would have startled you earlier now wash over you without registering, integrated into the background silence. You are effectively cut off from the environment, a solitary traveler in the capsule of your own mind. This isolation is the ultimate luxury, a period of time where nothing is asked of you, where no signal demands a response, and everything softens. As the cycle moves forward, the brain begins to ascend from the depths of delta sleep, rising back up through the lighter stages. But instead of waking, it takes a sharp turn into a new and paradoxical state, REM sleep. This is the realm of the dream, a state where the brain becomes as active as it is when you are awake, yet you remain deeply asleep. The eyes begin to dart back and forth beneath closed lids, scanning an internal horizon that only you can see. In this state, the logic centers of the prefrontal cortex remain dormant, while the visual and emotional centers light up with vibrant energy. This is why dreams are often bizarre, emotional, and disjointed. The editor is asleep, leaving the artist to paint without rules. Gravity may not apply, time may loop, and people may merge into one another, all accepted by the dreaming mind as perfectly normal. It is a playground of unbound association, where the brain explores the connections between disparate ideas without the constraints of reality. The current flows without effort. This dreaming state is not just entertainment. It is a form of emotional therapy, a safe space to process the feelings that were left unresolved during the day. The brain takes the stress, the fear, and the joy of your waking hours and strips them of their sharp edges, integrating them into your memory in a softer form. It is believed that REM sleep soothes the painful sting of difficult memories, allowing you to wake up with a perspective that was impossible the night before. You are healing your own heart while you sleep, rewriting the story of your life into something you can carry. The energy consumption of the brain spikes during this phase, burning glucose at a rate that rivals the most intense concentration of the day. It is hard work to build entire worlds from scratch, to populate them with characters and infuse them with physics and light. Every face you see in a dream is a construction of your own neural network, a projection of your own vast capability for creation. You are the architect, the audience, and the projector all at once, witnessing a cinema of your own making. And light drifts onward, the cycle of sleep, from the shallow drift to the deep restoration, to the vivid dream, repeats itself throughout the night, a wave that rolls through you again and one again. Each cycle is a little different, with the deep sleep becoming shorter and the dreaming periods becoming longer as morning approaches. It is a perfectly choreographed dance of chemistry and electricity, designed to maximize the restoration of both the body and the mind. You are traveling through these stages right now, or you soon will be, drifting on the tide of your own biology. There is a profound beauty in this nightly journey, a surrender that we all perform without hesitation. We lay down our defenses, close our eyes to the world, and trust that we will return. It is an act of faith in the resilience of the self, a belief that the continuity of who we are will bridge the gap of unconsciousness. And night after night, the bridge holds, the mind persists, and the morning comes, and silence follows. As we linger here in the quiet understanding of this system, let us acknowledge the gentle power of the brain's ability to turn off. In a world that prizes constant activity, the ability to stop is a vital survival skill, a biological necessity that cannot be bypassed. The off state is not an absence of life, but a different form of it, a crucial phase of the cycle that makes the on state possible. By resting, you are not neglecting your life, you are nourishing the very root of it. So, as you lie there, feeling the weight of your body and the slow rhythm of your breath, know that you are doing exactly what you are meant to do. There is no more data to process, no more signals to interpret, no more memories to file away for now. The machinery is shifting into its maintenance mode. The lights are dimming in the corridors, and the silence is spreading through the network. You are safe in the care of your own mind, held by the ancient, gentle laws of your existence. This cycle of descent and return is not random. It is a highly structured chemical ballet that repeats 4 or 5 times a night. As the night progresses, the chemistry of the brain shifts subtly, altering the ratio of neurotransmitters to favor the vivid landscapes of dreaming over the deep silence of the delta state. Acetylcholine, the chemical associated with attention and arousal, begins to rise while you are still asleep, fueling the visual intensity of your dreams. Meanwhile, the chemicals that normally allow you to move and act are suppressed, creating a unique state of active paralysis where the mind is free to fly while the body remains safely grounded. It is a paradox of biology that the brain is almost as active during this dream state as it is when you are wide awake. Yet, it is completely disconnected from the outside world. The sensory inputs are blocked, so the brain turns inward, spinning its own reality from the threads of memory and imagination stored in its vaults. It creates a simulation that feels entirely real, complete with texture, emotion, and gravity, proving that reality is, in many ways, a construct of the mind. You are the generator of your own experience, capable of building entire cities within the quiet containment of your skull. The current flows, without effort. In this internal theater, the logical constraints of the prefrontal cortex are temporarily suspended, allowing for a fluidity of thought that is impossible during the day. This is why you rarely question the strange events of a dream while you are in it. The part of you that says, "This is impossible," is currently offline. This suspension of disbelief allows the brain to make loose associations, connecting ideas that would normally remain separate. It is a state of boundless creativity, where the rigid categories of the waking world dissolve into a stream of pure, unfiltered consciousness. This cognitive freedom serves a distinct evolutionary purpose, acting as a safe simulation for the challenges of life. By rehearsing social interactions, fears, and desires in the safety of a dream, the brain prepares you for the complexities of the waking world. It is a flight simulator for being human, allowing you to practice navigation, conflict, and connection without any real-world consequence. When you wake, you carry the subtle residue of these lessons, a quiet confidence born from the nightly rehearsals of your sleeping mind. And wonder expands. The perception of time within this state is also elastic, stretching and compressing in ways that defy the ticking of the clock on your bedside table. A dream that feels like it spans hours or even days might actually occur in just 20 minutes of real time, a testament to the speed of neural processing. Without the external anchor of the sun or a clock, the mind creates its own temporal rhythm, flowing at the speed of thought rather than the speed of physics. It is a reminder that time is a subjective experience, felt differently depending on the state of the observer. Eventually, as the sun begins to rise and the light filters into the room, The brain prepares to re-engage with the physical world. The levels of melatonin begin to drop, replaced by a gentle surge of cortisol, a hormone that acts as a natural alarm clock. This chemical shift signals the body to warm up, increasing the heart rate and the blood pressure slightly to prepare for movement. It is a slow, orchestrated boot-up sequence, ensuring that the transition from the depths of sleep to the activity of the day is smooth and manageable, and everything rests in its place. This transition, known as the hypnopompic state, is the mirror image of falling asleep, a hazy borderland where the dream world lingers for a moment before fading. You might wake with a solution to a problem that baffled you the day before, a gift from the subconscious work that continued while you slept. The mind has been turning the puzzle pieces over in the dark, finding fits that the conscious mind missed, delivering the answer to you upon arrival. It is a common phenomenon, proving that the work of thinking does not stop just because you are not paying attention. The sensation of waking up is a gradual reconnection of the senses, a turning on of the inputs one by one. First, the sound returns, the birds or the traffic drifting into your awareness. Then, the sensation of the sheets against your skin. And finally, the light as you open your eyes. The brain re-establishes its map of the body, confirming that your limbs are where you left them, and the paralysis of sleep lifts. You are back in the driver's seat, ready to navigate the external world once more, refreshed by the journey inward. The rhythm continues. Even when you are fully awake, the brain operates on a principle of immense conservation, automating as much of your life as possible to save energy. This is the biological basis of habit, the mind's way of shifting complex tasks from the conscious cortex to the primitive basal ganglia. When you first learn to drive, every movement requires intense focus, but soon, the pathways become paved and automatic. You can drive home without thinking about the turn of the wheel, your mind free to wander, guided by a faithful autopilot that knows the way. These neural pathways are physically reinforced every time you repeat an action or a thought, a process known as myelination. Specialized cells called oligodendrocytes wrap the active circuits in layers of fatty insulation, allowing the signals to travel faster and with less resistance. It is the neurological equivalent of upgrading a dirt road to a superhighway, prioritizing the traffic that flows most often. This means that you are constantly physically building the structure of your own habits, sculpting your brain through the simple act of repetition, and life adjusts once more. This plasticity extends to your thoughts as well. The more you think a certain way, the easier it becomes to think that way again. A path of gratitude or curiosity, once worn into the neural landscape, becomes the path of least resistance for the electrical signals to follow. You are the gardener of your own mind, capable of cultivating specific patterns simply by directing your attention toward them again and again. It is a slow process, like water shaping stone, but over time, it creates the fundamental topography of your personality. The sum total of these connections, the trillions of links between your billions of neurons, is known as the connectomy. It is a map of you that is entirely unique. No two humans, not even identical twins, have the exact same wiring diagram. It captures the specific way your grandmother's voice links to the smell of baking, or how the color blue links to a feeling of calm. This web is the physical fingerprint of your soul, the intricate distinctiveness that makes your perspective unlike any other in the universe. And silence follows. This map is never finished. It is a living document that is revised and updated until the very end of your life. Every conversation you have, every book you read, and every sunset you witness alters the connectum slightly, adding a new thread to the tapestry. You are a work in progress, a biological system that is designed to remain open to the world, constantly weaving the outside in. There is no point where you are complete, for the nature of the mind is to continue becoming, to continue integrating the new into the old. Deep within this web, the mind is also constantly communicating with the body, a two-way dialogue that never ceases. The brain does not stop at the neck. It extends downwards through the spinal cord and into a vast network of nerves that touch every organ. The vagus nerve, the longest. Of these pathways, wanders from the brainstem to the heart, the lungs, and the gut, acting as a superhighway of information. It carries the state of the mind to the body, slowing the heart when you are calm, and carries the state of the body back to the mind. The quiet deepens. This connection is why you feel emotions physically, the butterflies in your stomach, the heaviness in your chest, the lightness in your step. These are not metaphors. They are physiological responses orchestrated by the brain to signal a change in your internal state. The gut in particular is lined with so many neurons that it is often called the second brain, capable of producing its own neurotransmitters. Your intuition, that gut feeling, is often the result of this primitive neural network, picking up on cues that your conscious mind has not yet processed. It is a holistic system where the distinction between mental and physical dissolves. There is only the organism, reacting and regulating as a whole. A calming breath calms the mind because the physical expansion of the lungs sends a safety signal up the vagus nerve to the brain. Conversely, a peaceful thought relaxes the muscles because the brain sends a command of release down the spinal cord. You can enter the cycle of relaxation from either end, soothing the mind to settle the body, or settling the body to soothe the mind, and peace hums through the body. The chemicals that govern these feelings are transient, washing through the system and then fading away, much like the weather. An emotion is a chemical event, a release of peptides and hormones that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. When you feel a surge of joy or a wave of sadness, it is a molecular tide rising in the blood, destined to recede if simply allowed to flow. The mind often tries to hold on to these waves, to analyze or prolong them, but the biology itself is designed for movement and release. Behind this constant flux of chemistry and electricity, behind the thoughts and the sensations, there is a stable awareness that simply observes. This is the I that notices you are happy, the I that notices you are tired, the witness that remains unchanged by the content of the experience. It is the silent center of the cyclone, the point of stillness around which the activity of the mind revolves. Connecting with this observer is the essence of rest, stepping back from the noise of the traffic to sit on the bank and watch the river flow. The Mame rhythm continues. This observer does not judge the thoughts that drift by. It simply acknowledges them and lets them pass. The mind generates thousands of thoughts a day. Estimates suggest tens of thousands, bubbling up from the subconscious like bubbles in a spring. Most of them are repetitive, echoes of yesterday or rehearsals for tomorrow, benign background noise of the neural machinery. You are under no obligation to engage with every single one. You can simply let them float to the surface and pop, returning to the silence from which they came. The brain also possesses a remarkable system for filtering pain and discomfort, releasing its own natural painkillers called endorphins. These molecules bind to the same receptors as opiates, dulling the sharp edges of physical sensation and producing a feeling of well-being. It is the body's own pharmacy, dispensing relief when needed to ensure you can continue to function and rest. This internal capacity for comfort is always present, a reservoir of potential relief waiting to be accessed, and everything softens. As we consider the resilience of this system, we must also marvel at its redundancy, the safety nets built into the architecture. If one pathway is blocked, the brain can often find another way around, rerouting the signal through a different network. This is the principle of degeneracy, the ability of structurally different elements to perform the same function or yield the same output. It ensures that the system is robust, capable of maintaining the continuity of self even when minor disruptions occur. The fuel for all this activity, the glucose and oxygen, is delivered with exquisite precision to exactly where it is needed. When you focus on a visual task, the blood flow increases specifically to the visual cortex in the back of the brain. It is a dynamic distribution of resources, a supply chain that shifts instantly to meet the demands of the moment. You are a self-sustaining economy of energy, managing your own resources with an intelligence that operates entirely in the background. The current flows without effort. There is also a profound symmetry in the brain, with two hemispheres that mirror each other yet perform slightly different roles. The left hemisphere often attends to the details, the logic, and the language, organizing the world into linear sequences. The right hemisphere tends to look at the whole, the context, and the emotional tone, perceiving the gestalt of the moment. Together, they create a unified view of reality, a stereo perception that gives depth and nuance to your experience of being alive. These two halves are connected by a thick band of nerve fibers called the corpus callosum, a massive bridge that allows constant communication between the sides. Millions of signals cross this bridge every second, integrating the analytical with the creative, the detail with the big picture. It is a dialogue that creates the balance of your mind, preventing you from being too rigid or too chaotic. You are a union of opposites, a harmony created by the collaboration of two distinct modes of seeing, and light drifts onward. This collaboration allows for the phenomenon of insight, the aha moment, where a solution suddenly appears. This often happens when the analytical left side quiets down, perhaps when you are showering, walking, or resting, allowing the subtle connections of the right side to be heard. The brain has been working on the problem in the background, making distant associations until the pattern clicks into place. It is a reminder that sometimes the best way to use the mind is to stop trying so hard, to soften the focus and let the answer emerge on its own. Consider the memory of a song, how it can instantly transport you back to a specific moment in time, complete with the feelings and the atmosphere of that day. This is the power of associative memory, where a single auditory cue triggers a cascade of neural firing across the entire network. The brain is a time machine capable of folding the years and bringing the past into the present with the clarity of a photograph. You carry your history not as a burden, but as a library of sensation, accessible whenever you need to remember who you have been. And silence follows, but the mind is also capable of imagining a future that has not yet happened, a unique ability known as prospection. You can close your eyes and simulate a walk on the beach, feeling the sand and hearing the waves, even if you are miles inland. This ability to project into the future allows you to plan, to hope, and to create, shaping the world in your mind before you shape it with your hands. It is the origin of all art and all invention, the quiet spark of possibility that precedes every human achievement. All of these functions, the memory, the emotion, the planning, the dreaming, are supported by the humble, rhythmic pulsing of the cerebrospinal fluid. It continues its slow tide, bathing the brain in nutrients and protection, a constant cradle for the center of your consciousness. As you rest now, that fluid is moving, the blood is circulating, and the neurons are shimmering with their gentle electric charge. You are a masterpiece of biological engineering, a vessel of awareness floating in the quiet stream of the universe. As the mind prepares to deepen its rest, it engages a specific chemical mechanism to ensure tranquility, releasing a neurotransmitter known as GABA. This molecule acts as the primary inhibitory messenger of the brain, a natural brake pedal that slows down the firing of neurons. When it is released, it binds to the cells and makes them less responsive to excitation, effectively dampening the noise of the neural network. It is the chemical equivalent of a hush falling over a crowded room, a signaling of safety that allows the high-energy chatter of the day to subside into a low, comfortable murmur. This chemical shift is what creates the physical sensation of heaviness in your limbs and the slowing of your thoughts as you lie in bed. It is not just a feeling, it is a measurable change in the voltage of your nervous system, a biological downshifting that prevents anxiety and alertness from taking hold. The brain is actively protecting you from overstimulation, coating the circuits in a layer of calm that makes it difficult to worry. You are being chemically swaddled, held in a state of reduced reactivity so that the restoration process can begin without interruption. The quiet returns to the roots. Under this calming influence, the electrical oscillations of the brain, the brainwaves, begin to synchronize in beautiful, sweeping patterns. During the day, different parts of the brain fire at different rates, a cacophony of independent activity. But as you drift towards sleep, these disparate rhythms align, moving together like a flock of birds turning in the sky. This synchronization, particularly in the alpha and theta ranges, represents a state of idle readiness, where the cortex is no longer processing information, but is simply humming with potential. This coherent rhythm facilitates a unique state of mind where the boundaries between the self and the environment begin to blur. The parietal lobes, which are responsible for orienting you in space and defining the physical limits of your body, begin to quiet down. Without this constant spatial mapping, you may feel as though you are expanding, floating, or dissolving into the bed, a distinct sensation of becoming larger than your physical form. It is a liberation from geometry, a momentary release from the coordinates that define your position in the world, and the tide moves gently on. Simultaneously, the frontal lobes, the seat of judgment and planning, gently go offline, releasing you from the burden of linear time. In this state, the concept of tomorrow or yesterday loses its grip, leaving you suspended in a continuous, soft now. The inner narrator, the voice that tells the story of your life and worries about the future, runs out of words and falls silent. This silence is not empty. It is a spacious relief, a clearing in the forest where you can simply exist without the need to explain yourself to anyone, even to yourself. In the absence of this executive control, the brain enters a mode of free association, linking ideas in novel and fluid ways. This is why the thoughts you have just before sleep often feel creative, strange, or profound, drifting from an image of a childhood street to the texture of a cloud without logical steps. The barriers that usually separate different categories of memory are lowered, allowing the contents of your mind to mix and merge. You are surfing on the waves of your own subconscious, carried by a current that knows exactly where it is flowing. The rhythm of the deep endures. This loosening of control is supported by the brain's default mode network, a series of connected regions that are active when you are not focused on the outside world. Usually, this network is busy with self-reflection and mind-wandering, but in the transition to sleep, its connectivity changes. It stops ruminating on the self and starts to drift, its tight grip on your identity loosening to allow for the expansive experience of rest. You are becoming less of a specific person and more of a general awareness, a peaceful shift from doing to being. As you sink into this state, the brain performs a vital energy-saving function known as synaptic downscaling. During the day, the strength of your synapses increases as you learn and experience new things, a process that consumes a vast amount of energy and space. To prevent the system from becoming saturated and noisy, sleep acts to weaken these connections across the board, scaling them back to a baseline level. It is a way of normalizing the network, preserving the relative strength of important memories while reducing the overall volume of the noise, and peace lingers. This downscaling is the neurological equivalent of turning down the master volume knob on a stereo system. By reducing the strength of the synapses, the brain saves energy and creates space for new learning to occur the next day. It ensures that your mind does not become a cluttered room filled with everything you have ever seen, but remains an organized, efficient space. You are being reset, the slate gently wiped clean of the minor static of the day, so that you can wake up with a fresh capacity for wonder. This process also explains why some details of the day fade so quickly after a good night's sleep. They were deemed unessential and washed away. The brain is a discerning editor, keeping only the signal and discarding the noise, protecting you from the burden of remembering every triviality. There is a wisdom in this forgetting, a recognition that not everything needs to be carried forward. You are lighter in the morning because the mind has shed the weight of the unnecessary, leaving you with only what matters. And silence follows. The chemistry of the sleeping brain also changes the way it handles information, specifically regarding the neurotransmitter norepinephrine. This chemical is associated with focus and alertness, but during deep sleep, its levels drop to almost zero. This creates a unique chemical environment that is impossible to achieve while awake, a state of total biological relaxation where the stress systems are completely deactivated. It is the only time in the 24-hour cycle that the brain is free from the influence of this stress chemical. a true holiday for the nervous system. In this protected chemical climate, the emotional centers of the brain can process difficult feelings without the accompanying physical stress response. You can revisit a worry or a fear in your sleep without your heart racing or your palms sweating, allowing the mind to strip the emotion of its stinging power. This is why sleep is often the best cure for emotional distress. It provides a safe, low norepinephrine zone where the brain can digest and neutralize the heavy feelings of the day, and everything softens. While the conscious mind rests, the subconscious continues to monitor the environment for significant signals, a primitive survival mechanism that never fully sleeps. It filters the sounds of the room, ignoring the hum of the refrigerator or the wind outside, but instantly alerting you to a cry or a crash. This selective listening proves that a part of you is always standing guard, a silent sentry that loves you enough to stay awake while you drift. You can surrender to the dark completely, knowing that this deep intelligence is watching over the gates. This sentry also monitors the internal state of the body, adjusting your position if a limb falls asleep, or pulling the covers up if your temperature drops. These movements happen without you ever waking up, small adjustments made by the brainstem to ensure your continued comfort. It is a relationship of profound trust, where the conscious self hands over the keys to the automatic self, confident that the body will be cared for. You are being piloted through the night by an expert navigator who needs no instruction. The current flows without effort. Deep in the brain, the production of new cells, a process called neurogenesis, continues primarily in the hippocampus. For a long time, it was believed that the adult brain could not grow new neurons, but we now know that this region is a nursery for fresh life. Sleep seems to support this growth, providing the stable environment needed for these fragile new cells to survive and integrate into the network. Even as an adult, your mind is constantly renewing itself, sprouting new potential in the quiet hours of the night. These young neurons are essential for forming new memories and adapting to new situations, keeping the mind flexible and resilient. They are the seeds of future thoughts, the physical potential for change that is being cultivated while you rest. It is a hopeful reality. You are not a finished product, but a garden that is forever in bloom, generating new life from the center of your own biology. The night is the season of growth, the fertile dark where the roots of your intelligence deepen. And still, it turns. Let us appreciate the sheer universality of this need for rest, a trait we share with almost every creature on the planet. From the smallest fruit fly to the largest whale, every nervous system requires a period of downtime to function. The way we sleep may differ. Dolphins sleep with half a brain at a time, birds can sleep while flying, but the fundamental law remains. To possess a mind is to require sleep. It is the tax we pay for the privilege of consciousness, a universal rhythm that binds all living things together. When you sleep, you are joining a vast, silent community of resting beings, a wave of quiet that travels around the globe with the shadow of the night. As the sun sets in your part of the world, millions of others are also lying down, closing their eyes and drifting into the same mysterious state. It is a shared human experience, perhaps the most common thing we do, a reminder that beneath our differences, we all operate on the same delicate biological cycle. You are never truly alone in the dark. You are part of the great breathing rhythm of the species, and the quiet holds. Within this global rhythm, your individual brain creates a private universe, a sensory deprivation tank of its own making. The thalamus blocks the input from the eyes and ears, creating a solitude that is absolute and necessary. In this solitude, the brain is free to turn its attention entirely inward, to converse with itself without interruption. It is a time of internal housekeeping, where the different regions of the brain communicate and synchronize without the distraction of the outside world. This internal communication is rich and complex, involving the replay of neural firing patterns that occurred during the day. If you learned a new piano piece, the motor cortex replays the sequence of finger movements at high speed while you sleep. The brain practices the skill thousands of times in the dark, refining the circuit so that the movement is smoother tomorrow. You are literally getting better at living while you do nothing but breathe, the mind working tirelessly to polish your abilities. And life adjusts once more. This replay phenomenon is not limited to motor skills. It extends to the navigation of space and the understanding of concepts. Experiments have shown that the brain replays the path through a maze or the logic of a problem, searching for shortcuts and deeper understanding. It is a form of offline processing, where the data is analyzed and reorganized to reveal patterns that were invisible in the heat of the moment. The solution that arrives in the morning is the fruit of this nocturnal labor, a gift from the diligent workers of the night. The brain also uses this time to recalibrate its emotional compass, resetting the sensitivity of the amygdala. After a night of poor sleep, the amygdala becomes hyperreactive, seeing threats where there are none. But good sleep restores its balance. It reconnects the emotional center with the logical prefrontal cortex, re-establishing the regulatory link that keeps you calm and centered. Sleep is the bridge that reconnects your feelings with your reason, allowing you to face the world with emotional intelligence. The rhythm continues. There is a specific type of brainwave called a sleep spindle that plays a key role in this protection and consolidation. These quick bursts of oscillating activity are like shields, deflecting sensory information that might otherwise wake you up. The more sleep spindles your brain produces, the more likely you are to sleep through noise, a correlation that highlights the active nature of rest. Your brain is not just passively switching off, it is actively generating signals to preserve your peace. As the night deepens, the levels of adenosine, the sleep pressure chemical, gradually decline, cleared away by the glymphatic system. This molecule, which signaled the need for sleep, is broken down and flushed out, slowly lightening the chemical load on the brain. By the time morning approaches, the pressure is gone and the neurons are reset, ready to fire with renewed vigor. You are being chemically recharged, the battery of your attention refilled drop by drop, and silence follows. The energy restored during this time is not just for thinking, it is for the maintenance of the body's entire homeostasis. The brain regulates the release of appetite hormones, the repair of tissues, and the modulation of the immune system, all of which rely on the off state to function differently. When you sleep, you are allowing the master controller to focus on the internal economy of the body, balancing the books of your biology. It is a time of realignment, where the scattered resources of the system are gathered and redistributed. Even the DNA within your cells is tended to, with repair enzymes fixing the small errors that accumulate during the metabolic activity of the day. The very code of your existence is being proofread and polished, ensuring the fidelity of your genetic instructions. It is a microscopic act of preservation, occurring in trillions of cells. Simultaneously, orchestrated by the overarching rhythm of sleep, you are being renewed at the most fundamental level, the damage of the day undone by the healing of the night, and wonder expands. Let us return to the image of the brain floating in its dark, fluid-filled chamber, isolated yet connected to everything. It is a lonely organ in a sense, never touching the world it perceives, yet it contains the world within its folds. It builds a model of the stars, the ocean, and the faces of those you love, holding them in a web of electricity and chemistry. The mind is the vessel that carries the universe, a silent, pulsing archive of everything that has ever mattered to you. As you lie here, resting in the safety of your own bed, that archive is safe. The doors are locked, the lights are dimmed, and the curator is taking care of the collection. You can let go of the need to hold it all together, for the biology of memory is designed to endure. The mind is a self-keeping sanctuary, a place where the past is preserved and the future is prepared, all within the quiet sanctuary of the present breath. The sanctuary of the mind is not a static room, but a fluid landscape that changes its geography as you drift deeper into the night. What appears as a solid memory during the day becomes pliable in the dream state, able to merge with other thoughts to create new meanings. This fluidity is the mind's way of experimenting, of testing new combinations of information without the strict censorship of reality. You are traveling through a terrain that is constantly reshaping itself under your feet, a world where the laws of physics are replaced by the laws of association. It is a place of infinite possibility, where the only limit is the scope of your own imagination. In this nocturnal world, the storyteller within you takes over, weaving narratives that feel profoundly important even when they defy logic. You might find yourself in a house that is both your childhood home and a place you have never seen. Yet your dreaming mind accepts this duality without question. This acceptance is due to the quietness of the frontal lobes, which usually flag errors and inconsistencies. Without their skepticism, you are free to experience the story with total immersion, believing in the reality of the dream just as you believe in the reality of the sun. It is a form of pure, uncritical existence, a return to the wonder of a child. And wonder expands. The brain constructs these simulations with such fidelity that the body often reacts as if they were real, were it not for the protective paralysis of sleep. When you dream of running, the motor cortex sends the command to your legs, but the brainstem intercepts the signal, keeping you safely still. This mechanism is a profound kindness, allowing you to experience the thrill of motion while your body enjoys the deep rest of stillness. It is a separation of experience and action, a way for the mind to fly while the muscles repair and recover. You are living two lives at once, one of wild adventure in the mind and one of perfect peace in the bed. This internal cinema is also a space where the brain practices the art of emotional regulation, rehearsing how to handle feelings in a low-risk environment. A dream may bring up a shadow of anxiety or a burst of joy, allowing the neural circuits to fire and process these emotions without the complexity of real-world consequences. It is a form of emotional digestion, breaking down the heavy experiences of life into manageable nutrients that can be integrated into yourself. By the time morning comes, the intensity of the feeling has often settled, metabolized by the work of the night, and everything softens. The rhythm of this processing is tied to the ultradian cycles, the 90-minute loops that move you from light sleep to deep sleep and back again. Like a diver repeatedly descending to the ocean floor and returning to the surface, your consciousness dips into the oblivion of delta waves before rising to the vividness of REM. Each cycle washes the shore of your mind a little differently, cleaning away debris and smoothing the sand. You do not need to track these cycles or manage them. They are the automatic tide of your biology, rising and falling with a precision that has been refined over millions of years. As you move through these cycles, the brain is also fine-tuning its sensitivity to the outside world, adjusting the threshold of what will wake you. In the earlier parts of the night, the threshold is high and you sleep deeply through noise. As morning approaches, the gatekeeper lowers the bar, letting more of the world filter in. This gradual reopening of the sensory gates prepares you to rejoin the living, ensuring that the transition from the internal world to the external one is not a shock. You are being slowly acclimated to the light, guided back to the surface with care. The current flows without effort, deep within. The brain, the hypothalamus, acts as a control center for this entire operation, balancing the chemicals that keep you asleep with those that will eventually wake you. It is a microscopic pharmacy, dispensing exact doses of histamine and orexin to maintain the state of consciousness appropriate for the moment. There is no manual control for this system. It operates on a feedback loop of pure biology, sensing exactly what you need and providing it. You are the beneficiary of a chemical intelligence that works tirelessly to ensure your state of mind matches the needs of your body. This intelligence also manages the temperature of your brain, which fluctuates rhythmically throughout the night alongside your body temperature. As you sleep, your core cools down, a drop that helps to conserve energy and deepen the state of unconsciousness. The brain loves this coolness. It is the climate of preservation, slowing the metabolic fires so that the cellular machinery lasts longer. You might feel this as a need to pull the blanket closer, a physical response to the internal cooling that signals deep rest. It is a comforting cycle. The cooler you become, the deeper you sleep. The deeper you sleep, the more you heal, and peace hums through the body. Consider the silence that exists inside the skull, a silence that is absolute and permanent. The brain dwells in total darkness and quiet, having never seen the light or heard a sound directly. It relies entirely on the electrical impulses sent from the eyes and ears to construct the sensation of brightness or melody. Everything you perceive, the glow of a lamp, the voice of a friend, is a translation, a song sung by neurons in the dark. It is a reminder that the world you live in is, in a very real sense, a creation of your own mind, a masterpiece of interpretation painted on a canvas of silence. This internal silence allows the brain to detect the subtlest of signals, listening to the quiet rhythm of your own heart and the flow of your breath. These internal sounds act as a metronome for the mind, a steady beat that grounds the erratic activity of thought. When the mind races, the slow, reliable thump of the heart can act as an anchor, pulling the focus back to the physical reality of the present. You are carrying a drumbeat of calm within your chest, a constant rhythm that the brain uses to synchronize its own cycles of rest. The rhythm continues. During the deepest phases of sleep, the communication between the different regions of the brain changes, becoming more local and less global. Instead of the whole brain talking to itself at once, small neighborhoods of neurons have quiet conversations, reinforcing specific memories and skills. This fragmentation of communication is why consciousness fades. The unified I requires the global network to be active. When the network breaks down into local clusters, the self dissolves into the peaceful nothingness of deep sleep. It is a temporary disassembly of the ego, a nightly liberation from the burden of being a person. In this state of disassembly, there is no worry, no planning, and no regret. There is only the biological fact of existence. The parts of the brain that generate anxiety and self-criticism are silenced, their connections temporarily severed by the chemistry of rest. This is the true gift of sleep, not just the repair of the body, but the respite from the mind itself. You are allowed to put down the heavy luggage of your identity and simply float as a collection of resting cells, unburdened by the story of who you are. And silence follows. The brain's energy, usually directed outward toward the senses and muscles, turns entirely inward to focus on maintenance and growth. The production of proteins, the building blocks of cells and hormones, peaks during these quiet hours. The brain is effectively restocked, its shelves replenished with the molecules needed for tomorrow's thinking and feeling. You are waking up physically, richer than you went to bed, endowed with a fresh supply of the biological materials required to live a full life. This restorative process extends to the immune system, which relies on sleep to memorize the signatures of viruses and bacteria. While you rest, the brain and the immune system communicate, exchanging information about the threats encountered during the day. Sleep strengthens this immunological memory, ensuring that your body remembers how to defend itself in the future. You are building a fortress while you dream, reinforcing the walls of your health with every hour of silence you grant yourself, and life adjusts once more. The concept of time in this deep state is non-existent. 5 minutes and 5 hours feel exactly the same to the sleeping mind. Without the markers of sensory input, the changing light, the ticking clock, the brain drifts in a timeless ocean. This timelessness is restorative, a break from the constant pressure of schedules and deadlines that govern the waking world. Here in the dark, there is no late, no early, and no hurry. There is only the eternal present of the metabolic cycle. You are free from the clock, floating in a dimension where the only time is the rhythm of your own biology. As the night wears on, the composition of your sleep shifts, with the periods of REM dreaming becoming longer and more elaborate. The brain, having finished much of its physical repair in the deep sleep of the early night, turns its attention to psychological integration. It takes the memories of the day and weaves them into the broader tapestry of your life, finding connections between the new and the old. This is why a new idea often feels familiar by morning. The mind has spent the night stitching it into the fabric of what you already know. The current flows without effort. This weaving process is gentle and continuous, a silent loom that never stops working as long as you are resting. The threads of your experience are delicate, but the cloth they form is strong, creating the resilient texture of your memory. You do not need to direct this weaving. The patterns form naturally, guided by the inherent logic of the neural network. You can trust the mind to know where each thread belongs, to place every memory in its proper context without your conscious intervention. There is a profound safety in this automaticity, a realization that the most important functions of your mind happen without your effort. You do not need to tell your neurons how to fire, or your synapses how to grow, or your dreams how to unfold. You are the passenger in this vessel, not the captain, and the vessel knows the way. Your only task is to allow the journey to happen, to surrender to the current that is already carrying you toward restoration. And the quiet holds. Even the occasional waking in the night is part of the natural rhythm, a brief surfacing to check the environment before diving back down. These moments are not failures of sleep, but part of its texture, ancient safety checks inherited from our ancestors. If you find yourself awake, simply observe the darkness and the comfort of the bed, knowing that the cycle will pull you back under soon enough. The sleep drive is a powerful force, a gravity that is always waiting to claim you if you simply stop resisting. The brain is also a master of association, linking the environment of the bedroom with the state of rest. Over time, the sight of your pillow and the feel of the sheets become powerful neural cues, signaling the brain to release melatonin and lower the heart rate. You have conditioned your own mind to find peace in this specific place, building a sanctuary of habit that supports your rest. Every night you return here, you strengthen this association, making the transition to sleep smoother and more inevitable. And everything rests in its place. Let us appreciate the sheer complexity of the chemistry that allows for this transition, the delicate balance of neurotransmitters that tips the scales towards sleep. It is a cascade of molecular events, a domino effect where one chemical signal triggers the next in a perfect sequence. There is no friction in this system, only the smooth flow of matter and energy transforming your state of consciousness. You are a chemistry set in motion, a fluid equation solving itself for X, where X is peace. The mind also possesses a remarkable ability to heal from the friction of the day, smoothing over the rough edges of irritation and fatigue. The buildup of metabolic waste that creates the feeling of tiredness is literally washed away, molecule by molecule. It is a physical purification, a clearing of the fog that allows the light of clarity to return. You are being polished by the night. Return to your original shine by the gentle abrasion of the hours. The rhythm continues. As we near the end of this exploration, consider the unity of the mind and the universe it observes. The carbon and nitrogen in your neurons were forged in the hearts of dying stars, billions of years ago. The electricity that powers your thoughts is the same force that lights the lightning and turns the planets. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are a piece of it that has learned to think, to dream, and to rest. The universe is sleeping within you, closing its billions of tiny eyes to find a moment of peace. So as you lie here, remember that your mind is built for this, built to let go, built to recover, and built to wake up renewed. The machinery is perfect, the system is sound, and the process is already underway. You can release the last of your hold on the day, letting the thoughts drift away like leaves on a slow river. The water is warm, the current is gentle, and the direction is always towards home, and silence follows. There is a final, gentle shift that occurs as you surrender completely, a loosening of the last bit of tension behind the eyes. The focus softens until it is gone, replaced by a warm, diffuse awareness that has no center and no edge. This is the threshold of the deep, the doorway to the restorative dark where the self is renewed. You are stepping through it now, or you have already passed through, carried by the silent, steady momentum of your own need for rest. As the mind releases its final grip on the waking world, the transition is not a sudden switch, but a gentle fading of the light, like the slow dimming of a theater before the film begins. The neurons that maintain the rigorous logic of the day reduce their firing rate, their electrical voices dropping to a whisper. It is a biological deceleration, a shedding of the velocity that has carried you through the hours. You are slowing down to match the rotation of the Earth, aligning your internal speed with the patient, unhurried turning of the planet itself. There is no rush here, only the steady, inevitable pull of gravity holding you in place while the mind exhales. Deep within the brainstem, The rhythmic center of the breath takes full command, regulating the rise and fall of your chest with a precision that requires no thought. This is the oldest part of you, the primal brain that has known how to survive since the very beginning of your life. It ensures that the oxygen continues to flow, that the carbon dioxide is cleared, and that the heart keeps its steady beat, all while you drift in the void. It is a profound relief to hand over the responsibility of living to this automatic pilot, to trust that the machinery will keep running without your supervision. And the quiet holds. With the conscious mind offline, the internal monologue that usually narrates your day finally falls silent. The voice that plans, judges, and remembers steps back into the shadows, leaving a spacious quiet in its wake. This silence is not empty. It is a rich, restorative stillness, where the brain is free to simply exist as a physical object. The pressure to be someone, to have a personality, and a history evaporates, leaving only the pure, uncomplicated fact of your being. You are returned to a state of simplicity, a biological entity resting in the safety of its own design. While you float in this silence, the chemical reservoirs of the brain are being quietly refilled. The neurotransmitters that were depleted during the day, the molecules of focus, mood, and movement, are synthesized and stored in their tiny vesicles. It is a nightly restocking of the shelves, ensuring that when you wake, you will have the chemical resources to feel, to move, and to think with clarity. You are being replenished at the molecular level, your potential for joy and engagement being manufactured in the dark while you sleep. The current flows without effort. This downtime also allows the brain to cool down physically, shedding the excess heat generated by the intense computation of the day. The blood vessels in the skin dilate, allowing the warmth to radiate out into the bedding, lowering the temperature of the core and the cranium. This thermal drop is a signal to the metabolic systems to slow down, preserving energy and reducing the wear and tear on the tissues. You are entering a state of hibernation in miniature, a period of suspended animation where the fires of life burn low and steady. As the tension leaves the mind, it also leaves the face, the muscles of the jaw and the forehead smoothing out as the neural signals to them cease. The brain maps the body's relaxation, receiving feedback that the tension has gone, which in turn deepens the state of mental rest. It is a loop of release. The mind quiets the body, and the quiet body soothes the mind. You can feel this happening now, the subtle unlocking of the physical form, as the grip of the nervous system softens into a caress, and silence follows. In this deep rest, the brain is no longer predicting the immediate future. It is no longer simulating the next moment to prepare for it. The prediction engine, which works so hard during the day to keep you safe and coordinated, finally rests. There is no next here, only the expansive now of the sleep state, a continuous present where nothing needs to be anticipated. It is a liberation from the arrow of time, a moment where the brain stops leaning forward and simply leans back. The skull, usually a helmet against the world, becomes a cradle, holding the soft, fluid-filled mass of the brain in a protective embrace. The cerebrospinal fluid buoys the tissue, effectively reducing the weight of the brain to a mere fraction of its actual mass. This buoyancy protects the delicate neurons from their own weight, allowing them to float in a state of near weightlessness. You are carrying a sea within you, a private ocean where the center of your consciousness bobs gently on the tide, and everything softens. The identity you carry, the name, the job, the relationships, becomes fluid in this state, dissolving into the general background of consciousness. You are not defined by what you do or who you know while you sleep. You are defined only by the life that pulses through you. This shedding of labels is a form of deep rest, a vacation from the effort of maintaining a social self. In the dark, you are free to be nameless and historyless, a pure spark of life resting in the void. While the self dissolves, the lessons of the day are being integrated, stitched into the long-term fabric of your understanding. The brain revisits the new information, the conversations, and the skills you encountered, finding the perfect place to store them. It connects the new with the old, building bridges between today's experiences and yesterday's wisdom. You are becoming smarter, more capable, and more complex while you do absolutely nothing, a testament to the passive brilliance of the mind. The rhythm continues. It is often said that we should sleep on a problem, and this is not just a figure of speech, it is a biological strategy. The sleeping brain continues to work on unresolved puzzles, testing solutions in the background without the interference of the conscious mind's biases. It turns the problem over and over in the dark, looking for angles that were invisible in the light. The clarity that comes with the morning is often the result of this nocturnal computation, a quiet breakthrough achieved while you were busy dreaming. The heart, too, speaks to the brain in this quiet hour, its rhythm influencing the electrical waves of the cortex. A slow, steady heartbeat sends a signal of safety to the brainstem, confirming that the predator is gone and the environment is secure. The brain responds by deepening the sleep, creating a virtuous cycle of calm that reverberates through the entire chest cavity. You are a symphony of two beats, the pulse of the blood and the pulse of the neuron, playing in perfect harmony, and light drifts onward. There is no friction in this state, no resistance against the world, because the boundaries between you and the surroundings have been lowered. The sensory signals that usually define here and there are muted, creating a sense of oceanic oneness. You are not pushing against the day, you are flowing with the night, accepted completely by the silence that surrounds you. It is a state of total non-resistance, where the struggle of existence is replaced by the ease of being. Consider the sheer volume of calculations that are not happening right now, the trajectories of walking, the grammar of speaking, the analysis of faces. The brain is saving billions of operations every second, a massive conservation of energy that allows the batteries to recharge. The silence you feel is the sound of this cessation, the quiet hum of a machine that has been allowed to idle. It is a profound rest, a release from the demand to process the infinite complexity of the universe, and the quiet holds. The glial cells, the caretakers of the brain, are busy now, extending and contracting to sweep the extracellular spaces clean. They are the night shift, the janitors of the mind who work best when the building is empty. They remove the chemical debris of thought, the byproducts of all that thinking and feeling, leaving the neural environment pristine. It is a physical act of purification, a washing away of the old to make room for the new. The darkness behind your eyes is not an empty void, but a canvas of potential, a space where the brain rests its visual machinery. The visual cortex, which consumes so much energy processing light and color during the day, is finally allowed to go dark. This absence of stimulation is a balm, a cooling shadow that rests the sensitive receptors of the mind. You are looking at nothing, and in that nothingness, there is a profound peace, and life adjusts once more. In this deep state, the concept of the future simply does not exist. The brain is not planning for the morning or worrying about the week ahead. The neural circuits involved in forward thinking are dormant, leaving you stranded in the gentle, repetitive cycle of the breath. This absence of future tense thinking is the definition of relaxation, a release from the burden of what is to come. You are safe in the capsule of the present, protected from the horizon by the wall of sleep. The biological cost of being awake is high, a constant drain on the body's resources, but sleep balances the ledger. Every hour of rest deposits energy back into the account, restoring the chemical balance that life disrupts. You are not losing time by sleeping. You are gaining life, investing in the longevity of the system. The mind knows this, and it rewards you with a feeling of heaviness and comfort, a bribe to keep you in the restorative state, and peace hums through the body. The synapses, the tiny bridges between the neurons, are being reset, their sensitivity dialed back to a baseline level. This prevents the system from becoming overwhelmed, ensuring that the brain remains plastic and adaptable. It is a form of volume control, turning down the noise so that the signal can be heard clearly again tomorrow. You are being tuned, the static of the day filtered out, until only the clear frequency of your consciousness remains. Beneath the silence, there is a gentle hum of existence, a background vibration of life that never truly stops. It is the sound of the cells respiring, the blood flowing, the electrical potential waiting to be used. It is a reminder that even in the deepest sleep, you are a vibrant, living thing, a dynamic process of energy and matter. You are alive in the dark, held by a force that is greater than your own will. And still, it turns. The observer, that part of you that watches the world, eventually fades as well, merging into the experience of sleep itself. There is no longer a you watching the dark. There is only the dark and the peace it contains. This merger is the ultimate surrender, the final dropping of the barrier between the subject and the object. You are no longer separate from the rest. You are the rest. Sleep is the bridge that connects the island of one day to the island of the next, a necessary passage over the river of night. You are crossing that bridge now, supported by the sturdy architecture of your own biology. The bridge is safe, the path is clear, and the movement is automatic. You do not need to walk. The walkway itself moves, carrying you gently toward the morning. The rhythm continues. As you rely on the autonomic nervous system to breathe for you, you are practicing a profound act of trust. You are admitting that you do not need to be in control to be safe, that there are forces within you that know how to sustain life without your interference. This trust is the foundation of peace, a letting go of the need to manage every aspect of your existence. You are being held by the ancient wisdom of your own body, a wisdom that has never failed you. The unity of the organism is complete in sleep. The mind and the body are no longer distinct, but a single, resting whole. The thoughts have slowed to match the breath, and the breath has slowed to match the heart. It is a state of coherence where all the parts of you are moving in the same direction, at the same slow pace. You are a unified field of rest, a singular point of peace in a turning world, and silence follows. This cycle of waking and sleeping is as old as life itself, a rhythm that has been unbroken for millions of years. By sleeping, you are participating in a ritual that connects you to every ancestor who came before you, all of whom found refuge in the dark. It is a timeless tradition, a sacred pause that allows life to continue. You are part of this lineage of rest, taking your place in the long, quiet history of the night. The preparation for tomorrow happens now, but without any urgency or effort on your part. The energy is being stored, the memories are being sorted, and the mood is being regulated, all while you drift. You are being prepared for the future by the gentle work of the present, equipped for the day to come by the silence of the night. It is a gift you give to your future self, a package of clarity and strength wrapped in the quiet hours. And everything rests in its place. The feeling of weight in your limbs is the physical sensation of the brain letting go of the muscles, a signal that the motor cortex has signed off for the night. It is a pleasant heaviness, a grounding force that anchors you to the bed and prevents you from floating away. You are tethered to the earth by your own relaxation, held securely in place by the gravity of sleep. Finally, there is a layer of protection that the brain casts over you, a cognitive shield that dampens the emotional impact of the world. In sleep, the worries of the day lose their sharp edges, smoothed down by the chemical tides of the mind. You are shielded from the storm, safely tucked away in the eye of the hurricane where the air is still. You are safe here, protected by the very architecture of your mind, drifting in the quiet, healing dark. As we approach the deepest point of this journey, we must acknowledge the profound benevolence of the brain's design. It does not ask you to understand its complexity in order to benefit from it. It simply works, a silent servant dedicated to your preservation. The billions of neurons that spark with your thoughts during the day are now quieting down, conserving their electrochemical potential for the future. You are the beneficiary of an evolutionary masterpiece, a system that has learned over aeons how to find peace in the midst of a turning world. There is a specific comfort in knowing that the mind is a self-cleaning engine, capable of washing away the cognitive dust of the day. The fluid that circulates through the tissues is doing its work right now, a microscopic tide that clarifies the channels of your thought. You do not need to clear your mind through effort. The biology is doing it for you, sweeping the corridors of the cortex while you lie in the dark. It is a passive purification, a restoration of the blank slate that allows you to begin again with every sunrise. And silence, follows. The electrical activity of the brain has now smoothed into the long, rolling waves of delta sleep, the rhythm of deep recovery. These waves are the sound of millions of cells singing in unison, a choir of total synchronization that drowns out the scattered noise of the individual. It is the most harmonious state the brain can achieve, a unity of purpose that brings the entire system into a state of resonance. You are vibrating at the frequency of rest, tuned to the slow, deep note of the earth itself. This state of resonance connects you to the fundamental physics of the universe, where everything seeks its lowest energy state. Just as water flows downhill to find a pool of stillness, your mind flows naturally toward this state of sleep. It is not an achievement to be earned, but a natural returning, a settling of gravity that pulls you softly toward the center. You are simply obeying the laws of nature, allowing the potential energy of the day to dissolve into the kinetic silence of the night. The rhythm continues. The boundaries of the body seem to fade entirely now, the distinction between the skin and the air losing its meaning. The brain has stopped mapping the coordinates of your limbs, releasing you from the geometry of the room. You are a suspended awareness, a floating point of consciousness that is everywhere and nowhere at once. This expansion is the ultimate freedom, a release from the confines of physical space into the boundless territory of the mind. In this vastness, the worries that seem so large under the harsh light of the sun are revealed to be small and distant. The perspective of the sleeping mind is oceanic. It sees the storms on the surface, but it knows the calm of the deep. You are dropping below the weather, sinking into the thermal layers where the water is still and the silence is absolute. It is a place where the turbulence of life cannot reach, a sanctuary of depth that is always waiting for you, and the quiet holds. The memories of the day are now safely tucked away, filed in the library of the cortex for safekeeping. You do not need to hold on to them. The librarian has taken the burden from your hands. The mind is a vast archive, and it knows exactly where to place every moment, organizing the chaotic narrative of your life into a coherent story. You can trust this process completely, letting go of the need to remember, knowing that nothing of value will be lost. The chemical tides of the brain have shifted fully to the night mode, bathing the neurons in a soothing wash of inhibition. The molecules of stress have been broken down, replaced by the molecules of peace, a biochemical change that you can feel in the heaviness of your eyelids. You are being medicated by your own biology, treated with a gentle, natural sedative that has no side effects other than clarity and health, and everything softens. As the external world disappears, the internal world becomes a place of soft, potential light. The dreams that may come are the mind's way of playing, of exploring the possibilities that the waking world denies. They are the creative spark that keeps the spirit alive, the nightly proof that you are capable of magic. You can welcome them or let them pass, but they are just another form of the mind's endless, beautiful activity. The heartbeat has slowed to its resting cadence, a drum that beats a rhythm of safety and endurance. The brain listens to this beat and uses it as a metronome to regulate its own cycles, syncing the neural waves to the cardiac pulse. You are a symphony of biology, a self-conducting orchestra playing a lullaby for an audience of one. The music is slow, the notes are long, and the silence between them is growing. The current flows without effort. There is no longer a need to be anyone, to answer any question, or to solve any puzzle. The persona you wear during the day has been hung up in the closet, leaving only the raw, honest life beneath. This shedding of the self is the deepest rest of all, a liberation from the effort of identity. You are simply life resting, a breathing, pulsing fact of the universe that requires no justification. The darkness of the room is not an emptiness, but a blanket, a soft covering that wraps you in privacy and peace. The brain perceives this dark as a signal to turn inward, to close the shutters on the windows of the senses. It is a cozy, protected state, a returning to the womb of the night where you are held and nourished. You are safe here, hidden from the demands of the light, tucked away in the secret pocket of the world, and peace hums through the body. The breath continues its automatic rise and fall, the most reliable pendulum in the world. It swings back and forth, marking the passage of time without counting it, a rhythm that has been with you since your first moment. The brain rides this breath like a boat on a swell, rising and falling with the tide of the air. It is a gentle motion that rocks you to sleep, a physical lullaby that never ends. You are part of a vast sleeping planet, one of billions of minds that have powered down to recharge. The city may be humming, but the minds within it are quiet, joining you in this collective act of restoration. There is a solidarity in sleep, a shared human necessity that binds us all together in the dark. You are in good company, drifting along with the rest of the world in the great, slow river of the night. And silence follows. The restoration is nearly complete. The cells are repairing, the energy is returning, and the mind is healing. You are being rebuilt moment by moment, prepared for the gift of another day. But that day is far away, across the ocean of the night. And for now, there is only this. There is only the comfort of the bed, the warmth of the covers, and the incredible quiet machinery of your own mind. You can feel the final tension leaving the small muscles behind the eyes, the last outpost of focus surrendering to the calm. The gaze turns inward and then dissolves, leaving only a soft, warm haze. The brain has done its work. The day is fully processed, the books are balanced, and the lights are out. It is time to simply be, to float in the suspension of your own existence. And life adjusts once more. The silence is now complete, a physical presence that fills the room and the mind alike. It is a silence that heals, a silence that answers all questions by making them unnecessary. You are at the center of this silence, the calm point around which the universe turns. You have arrived at the destination of the night, the place of perfect, unbroken rest. Everything is in its place. The neurons are resting, the blood is flowing, and the breath is moving. The complex architecture of the mind has shifted into its most stable, most protective configuration. You are held by the laws of physics and biology, cradled by the very forces that created you. There is nothing left to do but to let go of the last thread and fall. The rhythm continues. So we leave you here in the care of your own magnificent mind, a vessel of infinite complexity, drifting on a sea of peace. The spark of consciousness dims, not to be extinguished, but to be kept safe in the coals until the morning fans it to life again. You are the universe observing itself, and now the universe is closing its eyes. If your eyes remain open, another journey awaits. But if sleep arrives, you are already home.